In some fields, like software development, patents create a legal minefield. Software is full of ideas and unfortunately full of patents. All software developers ignore software patents to some extent, simply because every single use of program you write infringes on several patents. The situation is abused by patent trolls. They acquire patents at low cost, for instance, by buying bankrupted companies. Their patents tend to have broad claims on trivial matters so that infringement is unavoidable. Then they extort entrepreneurs, and you cannot retaliate against them. They do not produce anything, do not infringe themselves. ACTA may give patent trolls these tools: huge deterrent damages, statutory damages, suspend the entry of goods, suspend the release of infringing goods for at least 1 year, destruction of goods. Things go totally wrong here. We looked at access to generic medicine and we looked at patent trolls. And we see that in both cases, the state actually helps the wrong people. Will we be able to solve our environmental problems this way? Harsh anti-counterfeiting measures should only be available against fraudulent imitations. Exclusive rights limit competition. They have unclear validity and scope. Competitors can test validity and scope if the price of infringement is adequate compensation. Competitors cannot test validity and scope if the price of infringement is much higher, includes deterrent damages, seizures, and criminal measures. Weak rights become sacrosanct, inviolable. Disproportional anti-piracy measures limit competition beyond proportion. They attack desired economical activity. A war on competition resembles an autoimmune disease. Political question number 4. Do we want to give rights holders harsh measures against competitors beyond cases of counterfeiting? The last chapter, European Union, transparency and vetoes. How can we restore parliamentary influence? In the European Union, decisions are normally taken as openly as possible and as closely as possible to the citizen. And this is especially true for the legislative process. ACTA will contain a new legal framework. Substantially, ACTA is legislation, at least partly. The European Union Council labeled ACTA as not legislative. Labeling legislative cases as non-legislative goes against the European Treaty, at least according to the FFI in its complaint with the European Ombudsman. As we saw earlier, the European Parliament has asked for the documents twice, but did not get access to the documents. In the United States, hundreds of advisors, many of them corporate lobbyists, are considered cleared advisors. They have access to ACTA documents. Lobbyists have access to documents members of parliaments do not have access to. There's room to give ACTA documents to corporate lobbyists. Then the non-discrimination principle obliges to give the general public access as well. So I can only encourage people to ask for the documents. Vetoes. The member states of the European Union have vetoes on criminal measures in ACTA. If one member state of the European Union says no to criminal measures, they have to be taken out or made optional. One dedicated parliament can make a difference. According to the FFI analysis, the member states also have vetoes on non-commercial aspects of ACTA and on aspects that regard cultural, audiovisual and educational services. Again, one dedicated national parliament can make a difference. The European Parliament has a veto if ACTA changes EU legislation. And the European Parliament also has a veto if a specific institutional framework is established by institution cooperation procedures. You may like to take a look at the FFI analysis for this. Without a final draft, the European Parliament and the national parliament cannot assess whether their vetoes apply and should be used. Parliamentary scrutiny reservations. How can the parliaments of the European Union member states gain influence on ACTA? The parliaments of the member states can make parliamentary scrutiny reservations. Then they first have to see the documents before the member states can vote yes to ACTA in the Council. This way, the parliaments can block silent adoption in the Council and enforce transparency. And then we will see whether ACTA can face the daylight. I listed a few questions. There are, of course, many more political questions we could ask, but these are the ones I took out. Is it okay to make new legislation for billions of people behind closed doors? Do we want to criminalize the young generations? Are patents more important than human lives? And do we want to give rights holders harsh measures against competitors beyond cases of counterfeiting? The images I used come from OpenStreetMap and Wikipedia. I would like to thank you for your attention. There are some groups which are very active. If you follow the first link, you will see many links to documents and what's going on about ACTA. I don't know how much time I used. If you have any questions.
Questions?
Hello, Ante. Thanks for your talk. I'm Jeremy Zimmerman, the co-founder of La Quadrature du Net. I just had a quick question and maybe a comment on this. Last time I heard about ACTA, I've been told that there were no leaked details yet about specific parts related to internet, apart maybe what are the scope of the exceptions for commercial or non-commercial purpose, which obviously contain the internet. Are there more details than this yet? So this is for the question, and for the observation, I think that the access to medicine point is very explicit to many people when the rest of the patent or internet or infringement stuff is much harder to make understand. So yes. I think it will be crucial to reach a coalition with people defending access to medication and access to medication in developing countries. I think this will be crucial into bringing awareness to those questions, and I'm looking forward for this to happen.
Yes, the letter from the 100 public interest groups, there were many groups which care about your health and access to medicine. So there, especially in the United States, there's already a coalition there. And it would be very good to have such coalitions in Europe as well. On the internet provisions, nothing is known yet. The United States would make a non-paper, which are just some ideas. But I'm not sure whether that non-paper was produced. I believe it was. But there